Andrew and Tristan Tate are traffickers, and anyone coming alongside them to promote them are furthering a narrative that these men should be used to promote manhood, when the truth is that all anyone who promotes them is promoting is the very antithesis of what manhood truly is, as we look to bring forth evidence from their own lips that they are in fact wicked, disgusting, vile traffickers. Stay with us as we look at these and other stories on the 511 News. Welcome back to the 511 News. I'm your host, Chad Davidson of GoodFight Ministries. And on today's episode, we're going to be working on something and sharing something that we've actually worked on for over a year in looking at the evidence that has come against Andrew and Tristan Tate, and also looking at those who would shill for them, for those who would go to bat for these wicked individuals with, I hope, not looking at the evidence that they so clearly have given. But before we get into that, first I want to say, this is going to have some pretty disgusting things displayed because they need to be exposed. We will obviously bleep everything out. We will also cover up anything that you might see video-wise that could offend. But I will give a giant warning on what will be expressed here, because you're going to hear it right from the mouth of these men that are sadly being championed by many Christians, or at least say we can kind of use them as quote-unquote useful idiots to further manhood, and they're needed in this sphere. And I want to get that out there. I know we usually have a different intro that we put out about liking, subscribing. That's not important to me in this episode. What is important to me is that you understand this, because there are people, I am sure, that are in your sphere, in your realm, that will go to bat for this person. Because when we can look at somebody like Patrick Bet David, who has children, when we can look at somebody like Candace Owens, who has children, go to bat, interview, and say basically, oh, this guy's this is somebody who can be used to push manhood, whatever sort of nonsense that they're doing, whatever mental and moral gymnastics they are doing in their mind, all of it is disgusting if they've even taken 10 minutes to see some of the stuff this guy's been involved in. And for those who don't know, maybe you say, oh, I don't even know who Andrew Tate is. He was, and I believe because of a specific campaign by him and his group of lackeys, the most Googled man on the planet. And this is somebody who was a world champion kickboxer and then got even more famous when he was involved in the British version of Big Brother. But he was quickly kicked out when this video right here actually surfaced.
Tell me you love me. Say it like you mean it. Say it like you mean it. You message one other guy ever again, whether we're together or not, again. You understand me? Do you understand me? Say it then. Say I understand. Say it like you Look at the camera. Show everyone how pretty you are. Show the camera your tattoo. What does it say?
Tate.
Why does it say Tate?
Because I'm a...
You are my...
Yes.
Get my pimp stick. Which you're gonna kiss. My... Why has your got a bruise on it?
Because my daddy hits me.
He hits you?
Yes.
Why would he hit you?
Because I'm his and he does as he wants.
Listen. Go tell the camera that I beat you and you don't do as I say.
He beats me when I don't listen.
That's not what I said say, is it? I said I said tell the camera I beat you when you don't do as I say. I didn't say the word listen.
Well,
Did I say the word listen? Did I say the word listen? Stupid.
Now, of course, Andrew Tate has come out, and just as typically those who have been exploited even come out alongside of him to say there was nothing bad going on there. That woman was very underage as well, and he said it, was nothing. He spent the last few years under investigation, and yes, we will use words that will keep this video hopefully up and not quenched from getting out there and put a wet blanket over it, but accused of trafficking, rape, witness coercion, and also taking advantage of a minor. And actually, it's even been found in some of the court documents that Andrew Tate can be seen texting one of the minors and telling her not to say anything. Very, very disgusting stuff. But he has made a lot of money exploiting young women with webcams. But it's not just that. He's exploited cowardly men who would want to follow these very ideas, these very practices, and then use them for their own exploitation of women. And in fact, you can hear him bragging about this and his PhD program.
PhD program, that's right.
You want to talk a little bit about that?
So yeah, on corporatate.com, I have my PhD program, and that is PhD is a pimp and hose degree that I'm.
Clever.
And
Clever.
That teaches basically how I got girls, how I met girls, how I got girls to like me, how I got girls to fall in love with me to work on webcam for me. Because that's what I did. That was my MO, was find girls, make them love me, and make them work for me. And that's how I got rich. So that teaches everything I know from start to finish about not only getting girls, not only obtaining them, but retaining them. Because that's a completely different game as well. Mm-hmm. So I teach everything I know in there.
And if you want to hear, as I said, most of this entire episode is going to be his own voice, his own text messages, his own messages on the War Room. You can hear him talking about further that training of young men on how to exploit women, on how to do it by sleeping with them, and also on how to get his own version of Ghislaine Maxwell, if you remember her from the Jeffrey Epstein stuff.
You cannot get a girl to work for you having. So the recruitment process is the same as the PhD course. You message them on Instagram. The PhD course is my recruitment system. I don't mention webcam until after I've had sex with the girl. If you're on dates and you're trying to mention it, it just doesn't work. It puts them off. I'd never do that. That's disgusting. I'm not it's just not gonna work. You continue as normal, no mention of webcam. You f the girl. After you f the girl, you do the PhD test. If she passes the PhD test and she wants to be with you, then you start mentioning things like, yeah, but you know, you're always busy, you're always at work, you can come work for me. So, as I said, you cannot try and approach girls to do webcam. Hi, do you want to do webcam? It's bullshit. It doesn't work. No one's going to say yes. And any girl who does say yes is doing it. She doesn't like you. She doesn't know you. She doesn't love you. She's saying yes purely for money. And any girl who wants money that bad is going to skank you and leave you when she realizes you get a big cut of it. So even if you do get a girl to say yes that way, even if you do say to a girl, look, let's make some money, she's only in it for the money. She's not in it to please you. And if she's only in it for the money, she's going to get pissed off with her cut. Because they're going to Google up how much a token's worth, how many tokens they made, and all that. They're going to get pissed off with their cut. Remember the tax thing, so you only have to pay them 30% instead of 50%. It's important for your profitability. So you don't want a girl who's in it for money. You want a girl who's in it to be with you. So you meet a girl, you take her on dates, you f her or whatever, she passes the PhD test, then you start saying things like, oh yeah, but you're always working, I have to do some traveling and you can't come, I want to bring you with me. Traveling is a great one because the thing about this business is mobile. If you can find a good Airbnb with good internet, you can run it somewhere else. So it's a good little caveat to throw in. Oh, and you're always working. Why don't you work for me so we spend more time together? Work for you doing what? So you'll have a webcam business. Oh, I don't want to do that. So, okay, I know you don't want to do that, but listen. Come, let's have a meeting. Let's just talk about it. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. Fine. But let me explain it to you properly. In fact, I'll bring one of the girls who works for me. You're bottom, the new girl. You go out for a nice dinner. Your bottom is the one who does the selling. You don't do the selling. The girl has to hear it from a girl. And this is where your bottom has to be trained. That's why I said it's so important to have a good first girl. My first girl was so good, it was easy. My girl would sit there and go, oh my God, before this I was a waitress and it was and now I do this, I make so much money, and the guys all love me and they adore me, and on my birthday they send me presents, and I get so much money, blah, 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 and it's so much fun, and we stay at home, and da-da-da-da, or we're going to go to Thailand soon, or we're going to be working in Thailand, and we're going to stay there for as long as we want, you should come with us, it's going to be so much fun, da-da-da-da, martinis, 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 bang, threesome. Slam them both, your bottom knows, this girl's like, okay, well I'll try it, put both girls on camera together the first day, so the new girl can sit there and just sit with the other girl and get drunk, give them a bottle of vodka, put on the 100 tokens per shot. The guys will send loads of money to get the girls drunk because guys like drunk girls. Girls will sit there, get drunk, have a great time. You say it's your new job now. You haven't got to go to work ever again. That's how you recruit girls. You do not recruit girls any other way.
Now, I want to pause for a second from watching the hideous clips from Andrew Tate explaining to young men who obviously have issues as a whole if they're going to him for advice and paying money to him for this advice. But we actually did an entire series called Satan's Sex Scheme. And in one of them, we specifically point to the link between corn and trafficking. And in doing so, one of the things that we did was show a victim specifically describe how she was used and exploited and what the exploiter did to get her to exploit herself.
Every single young person I have ever worked with has been brought through these stages. This is a thought-out psychological process that people are brought through in order for somebody to have control and manipulation over. So I'm going to walk you through stage by stage. The first stage is the luring stage, and in this stage, this is when your trafficker begins to assess your vulnerabilities. So somebody isn't just pointing out somebody in a crowd and being like, I'm going to traffic this person. It is thought out. And that's what that luring process is for. So in this luring process, your trafficker is going to begin to assess your vulnerabilities. He's looking for somebody who's vulnerable. He's looking for somebody who has both individual risk factors and societal and systemic risk factors. He is going to begin to test the waters to figure out these vulnerabilities. He's going to put feelers out. He's going to see if you're going to be, if you will be able to buy what he's selling. He does this by asking you a million questions. And it does not feel like you're being interrogated, and it does not feel like you're being interviewed. It feels incredibly, incredibly special. That for once somebody's taken time out of their life and asked you about yours. For once somebody stopped and noticed you were struggling and asked you about it. He's going to ask you about your life. He's going to ask you about your family, your friends. He's going to ask you about your hopes and dreams for the future, the struggles you've been through. And he's going to listen to everything. And what he's doing in this moment is he's gathering information that he's later going to use against you. But in that moment, it feels incredibly good. So you're going to tell them anything and everything.
Now, one of the things Andrew Tate comes out over and over again, they haven't found any evidence and so forth. That's why he keeps getting put on house arrest, giving some leniency, I believe some political pressures as well. But nonetheless, he is still under investigation, and there is a lot of documents to go through that DICOT has been going through to prove this case. But he has come out and said there's nothing. People have made videos on my side, all that nonsense. But I want to go through what over 100 countries have kind of agreed to when it comes to putting a case together on whether or not someone is trafficking. And here is just like the 3-step process that equals to a trafficking individual, or to showcase that someone is being trafficked. Action is the first, and it's recruitment, transportation, transfer, harboring, receiving. By the way, all of which is very easily proven in what the Tates have done. Means, how are they doing this? Deception, fraud, coercion, threats, violence, and abuse of power. All of this is very, very easily seen by their own words. And the purpose, there needs to be a purpose. And that purpose is commercial work, prostitution, slavery, forced labor, and then organ removal. Now, I will say this, and I want to encourage you, this all comes from, this specific graphic is from an individual that's more on Twitter than anything. He has a YouTube channel as well, with not as many as subscribers. And I'm not saying this person's a believer. He's just been covering the case at length. And his moniker, or his name is Murdered by Crayons. And he has a ton of stuff on this. I've been following him over the last couple of years as this has been transpiring. And that's where that graphic comes from. But now that you have heard from a victim, now that you have seen what the requirements are to prove it, now let's continue to hear what Mr. Tate says about what you need to do in order to exploit these women.
I have to f her so she obeys me. I don't give a shit about having sex with beautiful women. I f them so they listen to me, so I can get what I actually want, which is not them. It's a means to an end. Every single Bond girl was exploited. That's exactly what I do. When I watch a Bond film and I see him basically pimp a to me that speaks to my heart. I've been there. I've done that. Anyone who's followed me long enough knows that I first made my $1 million with a webcam business. I have met beautiful women with a good personality and thought, she will make me money. I have to this. I don't want to have sex with her. I just need the money.
Now, if that doesn't get you upset enough, yes, it has been proven that these girls have been underage, and it's been proven by their own lips. And in fact, you can see him in an interview switching up what age it is, and you can see he's doing it almost as a joke with the person he's talking to based on the laws of the land he is sitting in.
I'm all these 16-year-old women or 18-year-old women, whatever the law is in America. 18?
It's 18 usually. You get married at 16. I think.
All right, in Romania it's 16, sorry.
Yeah.
So if I'm all these 18-year-old women.
One of my main chicks has 200,000 Instagram followers, and I took her virginity when she was 17.
Now, if none of this is getting under your skin, I don't know how you have a pulse, but nonetheless, if you're a Christian person watching this, if you're Patrick Bet David, I want you to see some screenshots that are read from this video in what is called the war room. And I want to give this to you so you understand what's going on here, because he is talking and actually sharing private conversations he had with a girl named Yasmina, one of the girls who has literally come out and said, I wasn't exploited. Andrew has been totally nice to me and so forth. But then you can see him bragging about how he manipulated her, and specifically using her values that she had before and then exploiting them against her. And if I'm being honest, this was one of the hardest things to read through, then see him bragging in his war room with other people to showcase how they can exploit women as well.
She's separated from her friends and family. She's lost her support network. He's tightening the screws. He creates a lie to get the reaction that you're about to see. Then he starts calling her a liar, threatening to kick her out, because the main thing is he needs her to never go anywhere without him, not even her hometown. He needs her working. This is her reply. He asked her, he's in green at the top, or teal. You worked in a sex club. I did not work in a sex club. I'm not lying. Where did you get this out from? So you'd rather believe them. I told you the truth. These people want me no good. I don't know who you've talked to, but it's a lie. I've only slept with 4 men in my life, and you were one of them. I've never lied to you. You said it yourself that people will try to destroy us and break us apart. I've heard things too, but I choose to believe you and not them. Andrew, answer me please, because this is a joke. Answer me please and tell me this is a joke, because I really don't want to believe that you mean what you're saying. I'm freaking crying alone in a room, and you think I'm not serious. I'm tired of this so-called friends acting like friends and ruining my chances to be happy, and it hurts that you believe that. Where am I now, Andrew? Here. Why? Because I'm serious. I've left everything and everyone behind. For who? ? So it continues. Not visiting her friends back home, putting the nails in the coffin, etc. He's posting the messages. So he's bragging, right? So he's bragging to the war room, showing them how she's replying to the methods that he's using. Then he comes back and says, serious girls don't lie. She says, yes, I understand. You were never going to go back to Timisoara even to visit without me. Understand? She says, yes, I understand. So I guess that's her hometown. So he's telling her, you're never even going home without me. He's already made her cut off her network, right? So she's starting to be dependent on him already. My people there are telling me you talked to tons of men and worked in a sex club. I'm not having you go back there for them to call me and tell me more. She says, that's a lie. As I said earlier, look at me. I'm a simple girl. Of course they are jealous at me for being happy. Why wouldn't they want to destroy that? As you see, I don't have lots of friends there, probably 1 or 2, 3. The rest are people who don't know me, and I've seen them, but not friends. Andrew says, you don't need to leave the house in Bucharest without me either, or Georgiana. We're together always, right? So again, you hear them talking about the CCTV proves that they can walk around the house. Yeah, they can walk around the house, but they can't go out unless they are chaperoned by either the Tates or some of the enforcers or the bottom.
Notice at the very end there, he is talking about, and this is why I mentioned Ghislaine Maxwell earlier, he's furthering the explanation of how to use other women to exploit other women. And anyone who has watched anything with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, you can see that is exactly what Ghislaine Maxwell did to help further the exploitation of women. They used other women to do so, and he is bragging about it. And as mentioned before, specifically using religious beliefs. And after you see this, we'll explain a little further how that works and how, honestly, it's a call to action for real men to stand up.
I have very few things, very few rules I can't break because I'm old-fashioned and I do believe in God. Number one, I've never sent a picture of me in lingerie ever. I made a promise to God and myself, and I will keep it. Number two, I will never do video chat or OnlyFans because my body is intimate and only my husband should be able to touch and see. Number three, if I give you my love, I'm expecting the same thing back. Number four, the man I love should not hit or beat me up. And that's it. If these four things are respected when it comes to me, then there's no way we can ever fight. I listen when I have to. I'm quiet when I'm supposed to. I'm definitely dedicated on being a good wife, waking you up in the morning with fresh coffee and a meal, all yours and forever. That's the way I was raised. Hand on this heart the whole day, so I had to say it. You are the perfect man for me and the man I've been dreaming to meet and have a family with since I was a kid. Now it's your turn to decide if this things changes the way you see me or if I'm still the woman you want to spend your life with. I do. Do you? So this is in reply to him asking her to send some sort of a photo. SG comes back and says, you G is she will break her principles for you. Tate says, would we all agree this is about as hard of a target as a target gets to make a girl work? Won't even send me, her boyfriend, a sexy pic. Plus God is mixed in. This is about the maximum difficulty that you can experience in the business. Right? So he's already talking about this is the maximum difficulty that you can experience in the business. What business? The OnlyFans business of breaking the women who don't want to go into OnlyFans, right? He's breaking them like you would break a horse to get them to do the things they don't want to do to push them into OnlyFans. And if you know this victim, you know that she went head first into OnlyFans eventually. She does all the things that she promised God she was never going to do.
Now, why do I bring this up? This one probably, as mentioned, bothered me the most because you can see how Satan works here. And that's what this is. Everyone, you could get really angry, but we're not wrestling against flesh and blood. It's Satan that is utilizing this person. It is Satan that is utilizing all of the other young men that are going towards it and every one of those cowards that's watching and many of the women that get involved in this. It's not like every single woman is exploited from a young age. Some do get involved because of power and money and they want to be involved in this. So they don't get away either. But there are those who have been devastatingly when it comes to getting them when they're young and manipulating them in this way. And I want to point this out because this just seems so much like a just easy prey for Satan. Because what he does with this girl, and this is just one example, and what Andrew Tate did with this girl is basically get her to go past that moral compass, go past what the Spirit would convict anybody of, the Spirit that goes out and convicts the whole world of sin, righteousness, and judgment, the conscience that bears witness against us. And once they're able to get them to break, and in this case, fornicate, then they're able to say, why not do it for money now? And then now they're trapped in it. And Satan does such a good job with that. And we're looking at this from a big perspective in terms of looking out and seeing the most vile, disgusting display of trafficking and exploitation. But so often this is honestly a microcosm of what he does with sin each and every day with so many people. Convince them to just accept and give in to this little bit of sin, and then you have no idea what you've opened the door to. Sin is always pregnant with the very next sin. It doesn't stay isolated. And when you give yourself over, whether it is through this exploitation or whether it is with some other sin, it is so hard to even realize that you've been chained to it. It's so hard to realize it. And that is why you have so many people that when it comes to sin, when it comes to what they get involved in, whether it's the LGBT, whether it is these workers as well, as we've been talking about, all of them then go to bat for the very thing that enslaves them. And it is one of the most heartbreaking things to see. You see people over and over again where their entire identity is wrapped up in their sin, whether it is of this nature or some other idolatry or whatever it may be. Their entire identity is wrapped up in the very thing that is waging war against their soul. And here's the thing. I was just teaching from 1 John chapter 3, and I want to say this. This is so important because we need fathers to step up in this regard. I had this morning, I got to wake up at 5 a.m. because my 5-year-old daughter was coming into my bed, and my wife can't sleep when she comes in the bed, even though we have a nice big bed to sleep on, but she's like, I'm uncomfortable. I get rolling around. And I watched my daughter sleep this morning, and I was looking at her and thinking about someone trying to take advantage of her as she grows up. And as a father, what I would do to keep that from taking place. And not only her, but as men to step up and say, what are we going to do when there are losers? These guys are losers, like Tristan and Andrew Tate, going after and manipulating young women on the internet. What are you going to do as a father, as a mother, to stand up and say, I am not going to allow my child to be manipulated? And it doesn't just happen here. It happens with these guys that are following Andrew Tate, how to do it, how to practice it. And then they're doing it at the high school and the junior high level, and they're manipulating them and getting them to take off their clothes, getting pictures sent, whatever it may be. They're doing this, and guess what? What are you doing as a father? What are you doing as a mother? To two things: stop it and prevent it from happening, but also to say, I still love you. I'm still here if it has happened. To still have the open arms when they come back. To still be the person that my daughter, when she does make mistakes in life, knows that I'm going to still have open arms and love her, because that's the arms that I was embraced by when it came to Jesus Christ, when I came to him after I was a loser. And I'm only saying that as somebody who used to be somebody who would exploit people. And it's not just women, but, whether it was for other means of popularity, whatever it may have been. And to know I had open arms. So not only to be there to have the defenses in front of our daughters, in front of our sons, so that these things don't happen, but also to have the loving arms opened up that were given to us when we came to the grace of God. We want to have those same things. It's not one or the other. I am a man. I train my men, my sons to be men as defenders, to defend the weak. And so we want to be able to be defenders. These guys are using what they think is masculinity, but it's cowardice. What is more cowardly? Who could think that these guys are men when they exploit young girls? These are cowards, and I don't want to be anywhere near them or any shill that will stand near them and promote them on the day of judgment, because God is an avenger, and he will avenge those who have exploited young girls. He will avenge those who also pay money for that exploitation. If you are one of those that are continuing to give money, not just to him, but to the girls who are exploiting themselves, all of you need to repent and turn right now before it's too late. Because Jesus Christ did die according to the scriptures. He rose again on the third day according to the scriptures. And he didn't do these things in private as you look privately in your phone or privately in a cave or privately somewhere. He did this publicly, a public declaration of death and resurrection, 40 days and 40 nights, giving many convincing proof of his resurrection. And guess what? If you turn to him and you truly repent, turn from this wicked world and turn to the Lord Jesus Christ, he will say when you die, well done, good and faithful servant, because you have taken upon yourself, he has taken your sin, the great exchange, that he who knew no sin became sin so that we might become the righteousness of God. Guess what? We get to partake in his righteousness because of what he's done, and we don't have to partake in the wrath that is deserved. But I'll tell you, every one of you who do not turn to Jesus, you will get exactly what you deserve. Andrew Tate, Tristan Tate, and anyone who is continuing in this exploitation and furthering it. Money is the root of all sorts of evil. And if you are using your money to pay and to further this disgusting display, you're going to deserve of judgment as well, and you're going to get it. I encourage you right now, turn from it. Put your trust in the Lord Jesus Christ. Love him, obey him, and they'll stand up and actually be a man. This has been Chad Davidson. This is the 511 News. Thank you guys so much for watching 511 News. You can check out some of the older episodes as well as the Good Fight radio show and videos we have right here on our YouTube channel. And this week's featured product is Marvel and DC's War on God, Part 3, Stan Lee, God, and the Devil. You can check it out on goodfight.org. God bless you guys.